So the Chiefs did a thing. The wide receiver core has been rejuvenated. The Kansas City Chiefs are re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, here's the thing. There will be some of us for whom this is a very popular move that have called for this long time coming. There will be some of us for whom this is a very unpopular move, who have said this should never happen, and said the same thing, probably, I would imagine, about the Mecole Hardman trade last year. Here's what I hope to do. In what I consider typical scrambling fashion, I hope to prove both of you a little bit wrong, and both of you a little bit right. I have 5 thoughts on this re-signing by the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs rejuvenating their wide receiver core with the signing. Guys, we'll just get into it. Here's where I want to start. Juju Smith-Schuster was the first player in NFL history to score 5 touchdowns before his 21st birthday. And okay, this might seem superfluous. This might seem like, if scrambling's coming out here swinging to prove me right or prove me wrong and prove me both at the same time, this must be a tactical mistake. This is completely irrelevant to Juju Smith-Schuster with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024. Here is why it's not. Juju Smith-Schuster was the first player in NFL history to score 5 touchdowns before his 21st birthday 6 years ago. It's easy. It's very easy to look at Juju Smith-Schuster, who is apparently on his 4th life in the NFL, and think, oh man, this guy is ancient. He's not. Juju Smith-Schuster is 27 years old. Mecole Hardman is 26 years old. Justin Ross is 24, which means if you do the math, he's basically the same age that Juju Smith-Schuster was when he signed originally with the Kansas City Chiefs. Really, Juju Smith-Schuster is the same age, or Justin Ross is the same age as Juju Smith-Schuster when the Steelers finally decided, we can't do this anymore. See, Juju Smith-Schuster has had a very long and trying NFL career, but he has had a very long and trying NFL career by the age of 27. Juju Smith-Schuster has been in the NFL since 2017. His rookie season, he had 917 yards and 7 touchdowns, a season very comparable to Rashee Rice's rookie season, and we're going to come back to the Rashee Rice comparison in just a moment. But as a rookie, 917 yards, 7 touchdowns. That included a 97-yard touchdown. The very next season, in 2018, he would have been 22 years old, 1,426 yards, another 7 touchdowns, and another 97-yard touchdown. So here he is, a sophomore in the NFL. He has essentially a 1,000-yard season and essentially a 1,500-yard season. He looks, and by the way, guys, Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm a big draft guy. I have a draft channel. Normally it's linked in the description if you're not following me over there as well, where I talk about the NFL draft exclusively. Juju Smith-Schuster was one of the big names for years. He wasn't quite in the camp of, oh man, if only these guys could come out after their freshman season. But everyone kind of knew by his sophomore year in college, this is an NFL player. True sophomore season, this is an NFL player. He's going to be good. And through 2 seasons, absolutely, he was 1,000 yards and 1,500 yards. His 3rd season was a 500-yard campaign. His fourth season was an 800-yard campaign. He had become, in the absence of a number one target on that roster, remember, he was playing with a number one target on the roster. Once that number one target went away and Juju Smith-Schuster assumed the role, he fell off of a cliff. Antonio Brown, obviously, being that number one guy. 2021, so 900, 1400, 500, 800. 2021, he plays 5 games and has 129 yards. Then the Steelers decided they were done with him. Then he comes to Kansas City. 78 receptions, 933 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The guy, and then he goes to New England and falls off the face of the earth again. The guy has been all over, but he's still only 27 years old. He's not ancient. There could still be productive years in the tank for Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, that said, we talked all the way through the 2022 season just now. He had a very disappointing 2023 season with the New England Patriots. Last year for the Patriots, he had 21 receptions, 244 yards, and a touchdown. Wait. No, that's not Juju. That was Sky Moore for the Kansas City Chiefs. Juju, last season, after falling completely off the face of the earth and everyone asking, is Juju Smith-Schuster still an NFL player? Juju Smith-Schuster put up 29 receptions, 8 more than Sky Moore. Juju Smith-Schuster put up 260 yards, 16 more than Sky Moore. Juju Smith-Schuster had a touchdown, the same amount as Sky Moore. By the by, worth noting, Juju Smith-Schuster was not catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. It is possible, it is 1,000% possible, that the 933-yard wide receiver that was Juju Smith-Schuster in 2022, 1,000% possible he's still in there. 1,000% possible he's still that guy. Bad season in New England. That New England offense wasn't worth a whole lot. 1,000% possible he's still nearly a 1,000-yard receiver while catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. Those totals, 29 receptions, 260 yards, and a touchdown, would have put him fourth on the Chiefs last season. Now, here is something that is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. We've been over it a couple times on the channel, but I think those were in videos that I had to get rid of in order to get back in the good graces of YouTube. In 2022, Juju Smith-Schuster for the Kansas City Chiefs caught 78 passes, 933 yards, and 3 touchdowns. A disappointing touchdown amount, yes, but the other 2 numbers are standard number 1 type wide receiver possession guy numbers in the NFL. In 2023, listen to how close these numbers are. Rashee Rice had 79 receptions, 1 more than Juju Smith-Schuster. Rashee Rice had 938 yards, 5 more than Juju Smith-Schuster. Rashee Rice had 5 touchdowns, 2 more than Juju Smith-Schuster. Rashee Rice was a rookie. Juju Smith-Schuster was a veteran. These things are absolutely true. But guys, it could be that Juju Smith-Schuster is still that guy, which means we essentially have 2 Rashee Rices from last year. A receiver so nice, we got him twice. A receiver so Rice, we bought him twice, right? It could be that this is 78, 933, and 3, still Juju Smith-Schuster. In which case, this offense is going to be absolutely stunning in the 2024 season. Now, here's where it gets a little bit confusing for me. Juju Smith-Schuster is not a new body type. So he is being brought in exclusively for the skill that he provides not additional dimensions to this offense. Juju Smith-Schuster is not taking the top off of a defense. Juju Smith-Schuster is not going to be very good on a jet sweep. Juju Smith-Schuster is not really going to be the guy that you want to throw the ball at the line of scrimmage and let him run away. He's not really bringing a whole lot of new stuff to the offense. So is this the Kansas City Chiefs bracing for a Rashee Rice suspension? We've already gone over how stunningly similar their actual numbers are. Are they bracing for that Rashee Rice suspension so that when he goes down, when he goes out, when he misses games, the Chiefs have someone to play that same role? Or are they just trying to raise the floor of the wide receiver room? He's not going to really raise the ceiling. The ceiling on this wide receiver room lies mostly with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and maybe Justin Ross. If Justin Ross becomes the guy that he occasionally is, then that's going to raise the ceiling quite a bit on the wide receiver group as a whole. Juju Smith-Schuster does not do that. That said, Juju Smith-Schuster's floor might be 260 yards, which is more than Sky Moore had last year, which is more than Justin Ross had last year, which is more than Kadarius Toney had last year. So I think this is where the move gets a little bit confusing for me. How it is that Juju really factors in to the offense writ large. Now, I believe 1,000% they know. I don't think they're winging it, but I don't get it from this end of things. Another couple things here. He's a risk injury. He's an injury risk, a risk injury. He is an injury risk. He's never started a whole season in his entire career. He has only played every game in a season during the 2018 and 2020 seasons, and those were not 17-game seasons, but 16. So will he be on the field when he's actually needed? These are questions that have to be raised when you're talking about the floor of a wide receiver room. Your best ability is availability. That's a moniker that we get from baseball largely, but certainly it applies to football, and it applies to football in cases like this especially. Now, along these same lines, the Chiefs have re-signed Juju Smith-Schuster. In my opinion, much in the same way that they reacquired Mecole Hardman last year. In a standard season, normal season circumstance, hey, we've got our roster, we're going to go try to win the Super Bowl. Under those conditions, I think there are enough interesting players on this roster that Juju Smith-Schuster does not get brought back. When you're constantly sort of eschewing younger guys on the roster, Justin Ross, Nico Remigio, Sky Moore, when you're telling those guys, hey, stay off the field, we've got an older guy, you're sacrificing potential future success. Sky Moore, this might be his breakout year. I doubt it, but the third season was traditionally in NFL practices when you would see a wide receiver transcend what it was that he had been and become who it was that he was going to be through the course of the meaty years of his NFL career. It was the third season that you would see that. Sky Moore's entering that third season. I do not believe Juju Smith-Schuster will be below Sky Moore on the depth chart. So during a regular run-of-the-mill, going to try to win the Super Bowl season, I don't think Juju gets brought in. But the Kansas City Chiefs have history there for the taking. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to attempt to be the first team in NFL history to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Now, that means, and we've talked about this through this offseason, perhaps sacrificing potential for the future in order to cash in a little bit on the now. I don't think that this is a move that is going to absolutely bankrupt the wide receiver core for the future. Your two shining stars of young guys here, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, are absolutely going to be above Juju Smith-Schuster on the depth chart. I don't think Sky Moore will. I don't think Justin Ross will. I don't think Nico Remigio will. Those are guys who are younger. McCole Hardman is younger. I mean, if we're just going by pure age, McCole Hardman is a year younger than Juju Smith-Schuster. So this move seems to me not desperation, but aggression. It seems to be a move that is not desperate, but aggressive, which calls into question, we've got a little bit of time before the season starts. There's about, like a week and a half now before the season actually starts. Are we going to see the Kansas City Chiefs cash in on another defensive tackle, on another defensive end? I don't have it typed out there, but cornerback has been something that has apparently been stressing out Steve Spagnuolo all offseason. Maybe we see a move on that front as the Kansas City Chiefs really auger down and try to definitively win the Super Bowl this season, maybe sacrificing future endeavors. That is something we are going to have to watch out for. And Brett Veach has been very, very good over the past couple seasons about not doing that. You will remember, undoubtedly, early in the Veach tenure, he traded a first-round pick for Frank Clark, traded a first-round pick for Orlando Brown Jr. These are moves that maybe largely paid off, but what would he have been able to draft in those positions? We have seen him do very well in the draft since. The number 4 thing here is, I keep doing that. It looks to me like Nico is probably a practice squad guy again. I don't see with this move any way that Nico makes the roster. Maybe not surprising. It surprises me a little bit. I thought that the value he added on special teams was going to be enough to make him rosterable. A little bit upsetting because I do think that the possession element of Juju Smith-Schuster's game is the same type of thing that you're getting from Nico Remigio. So why not give the kid a chance? But for history being there for the taking, right? You know Juju can be that guy. You don't know it about Nico. Not 1,000%. So I get it, but it is a little disappointing, I have to admit. Now, the 5th and final thing here, guys, it's not just Nico who's going to be affected by this. Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, McCole Hardman, Justin Ross. Are any of these guys to be cut/dealt? I don't know what you could trade Justin Ross for, but we saw Ihmir Smith-Marsette from last season be traded. McCole Hardman, I think that his performance with the Jets last season makes it highly doubtable that he is a tradable asset. But he came up with a great catch in the Super Bowl, a catch that will live in infamy in some corners of the NFL and simply live forever in other corners of NFL fandom. Easy to sell, easy to sell your fan base on that. You are a young GM struggling at the wide receiver position and you have to do something. Easy to make that move. Basically the same thing is true for Sky Moore just a year earlier. I'm not saying that any of these would be record-breaking deals. And we've seen guys like Jackson Carman from the Bengals be unceremoniously booted this preseason already. So what is the trade market like? It's hard to say. If you told me the beginning of last season that the Steelers were going to get a very young, good quarterback for next to nothing, maybe he's not the greatest quarterback in the world. I don't know that I would have believed you. I don't know what I would have thought was the case, but when you're looking at Justin Fields, I'm trying to look it up. I think he was acquired for a 7th round pick. I would never have imagined that. I don't think anyone would have called that heading into last season. But it's what I believe that's what happened. Anyway, enough of that. This has to mean something. Juju Smith-Schuster signing with the Kansas City Chiefs has to mean something for Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, and or Justin Ross. Some combination of those guys are going to be impacted by this signing. As of the time of me making this video, none of these things are true. Nico Remigio is not a practice squad guy. Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, Justin Ross remain on the 90. Juju Smith-Schuster, we don't even have official word that Juju Smith-Schuster has been re-signed. As of the time I am making this video, all of this could be kablooey. But it raises big questions if true. I believe it's true. I don't think we would have gotten the Juju Smith-Schuster re-signing from the sources that we got it from were it not. When Juju Smith-Schuster walks his way into the rotation at wide receiver, where will he be playing? In my opinion, Hollywood Brown is the number 1. Rashee Rice is the number 2. Xavier Worthy looks like the number 3. What about the Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster scenario? Watson had better numbers than Juju last season, but Juju started over Watson in 2022. If Juju is that same guy, who's to say that he shouldn't start over Watson this year? Justin Watson has proven to be a good wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. I have often said he is a great number 4 receiver and probably a phenomenal number 5 receiver. Last season, he had 27 receptions, 460 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's good stuff if you're the number 4 guy. It's good stuff. It's great stuff if you're the number 5 guy. What does the reacquirement of Juju Smith-Schuster mean for these other names in the Kansas City Chiefs offense? I have to imagine that between Kadarius, Sky, Mecole, and Justin Ross, we're going to see one guy get traded. I think that between all of them, somebody is going to have some type of trade value. Top of my head, I have to imagine it's Kadarius Toney simply because of the movement skills, simply because of the value added as a punt returner. I don't think we saw him as a kick returner this preseason, just off the top of my head, but I don't know why he wouldn't be able to do that. So simply from special teams, Kadarius, I think, would have the most trade value of any of these guys if the Chiefs want to move on from him. I'm a fan of the Juju Smith-Schuster move. Okay, I'll put that out there. It's all right to have Juju Smith-Schuster back. I don't understand it. I like it. If Juju Smith-Schuster is a 933-yard receiver, this is amazing, especially considering he's probably likely to sign for close to the league minimum for a veteran. But I don't understand it. I don't understand the ramifications. I don't understand the implications. I don't understand the actual movement on the depth chart. And the Chiefs can't either, right? The Chiefs can think they know who Juju Smith-Schuster is. The Chiefs can believe that Juju Smith-Schuster is closer to the 933-yard wide receiver that they had in 2022 than the 260-yard wide receiver that the New England Patriots had last year. They can believe that till the cows come home. You're not going to know till he steps on the field. The Steelers certainly didn't believe between those 4th and 5th seasons, 3rd and 4th, 4th and 5th, when all of a sudden Juju Smith-Schuster went from being a 500-yard receiver to 160. They didn't see that coming. It was because of injury, sure, but they didn't see that coming. I don't know that anyone rightfully saw the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster was going to be essentially a 1,000-yard receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2022. I think you could probably count Juju Smith-Schuster among those surprised by that stat line. So do I like the move? Yeah, sure. This is a move that makes the bottom on this wide receiver core easier to deal with. 100%. Do I understand this move? Not yet. Certainly I do not. We are days away now from the season opening, and the Ravens and the Bengals, that might be the real reason behind this move. The fact that Hollywood Brown is going to miss probably at least 2 weeks might be the real meaning behind this move. The fact that Hollywood Brown is going to miss, coincidentally, the 2 most important games outside of the AFC West this season, and probably, even though games inside the AFC West kind of count as 2 games, games against likely playoff teams kind of count as 1.5 games. Probably the Ravens and the Bengals are the 2 most important games on the schedule, at least it looks like, at the outset of the season. And Hollywood Brown, here's the funny part. You're missing Hollywood Brown because of sternoclavicular separation. You're afraid you're going to be missing Rashee Rice because of vehicular separation. So, man, what a wild time for this wide receiver core in the Kansas City. Anyway, I'm just going to end it there because I'm not sure. I'm just rambling at this point. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.